Hey, yo, what up, guys? I'm right here talking shit with Toasty, right here with Andrew Toste. Stoked to be here. We have an event wrap-up for you, also a couple other things that we want to talk about with you guys. Before we get started, though, Andrew, how are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Didn't take really any damage from the fight. Been getting back into my groove of like going into work and getting back to my training at like 5:30 and then 10 and then in the afternoon. So it's good to get back on the grind. Feels good.
How much longer do you see yourself working full-time and fighting?
Working full-time and fighting, it's a question on where I go once I get my pro license. What kind of contracts, fight purses I'm getting. I would imagine I really like the job I have. They're very flexible in like the hours that I take. I have like almost 200 hours of vacation time stocked up, so I might as well use it while I can. I don't really see a need right now to jump ship and get out of the working class, but we'll see where it goes from here.
Sick, dude. I want to thank all the fans that came, dude. The show was sick, bro. It sold out.
Yep.
I gave away a bunch of tickets because I like to do that, and now I realize I probably shouldn't do that because they're fucking sold out, dude. And so that venue was sick. Lights were sick. The video guys, they were dope, bro.
Mm-hmm. Everybody was super cool there. Like all the people doing the lights came up and said hi. The Santa Cruz Sentinel was there. There was a bunch of different media outlets. It was really cool. I remember, I think it was like right after the Ray Villalobos fight. I walked out onto the ramp to sort of look out, and like just wall to wall, almost every seat was filled. It was crazy.
It was crazy. I was shocked. It was way more packed than I thought it was going to be. I think everyone did a good job. The DJ did a great job. Appreciate you, James. You did a great job. Glenn of the video guys, they did a great job. Jesse Diaz, he was the one that got like all the social media. He took over the social media for the day, and he made all those little videos from like right cage side. He does a great job, man. And you can also reach out to Jesse if you need work like that done. He's starting to do that like as a career. But how did you? Oh, you didn't drink, huh? You get any drinks?
Well, I didn't get any drinks until after my fight. I went out. I think I had like one drink before I think either they sold out or they shut down the sales. I think they did that like right before the last fight or a couple fights after that. I didn't have enough time after packing all my stuff up, giving all my goodbyes to everybody. But I got one or two drinks in there.
Sick, bro. How were they? Were they all right?
Good. Real good when you mix them with a center.
Awesome, bro. They had done those batch cocktails. Center was in the house. Center put like a bunch of instant drinks all over the tables. Center really takes care of us. We appreciate Center. The sponsors, they've been helping out the show, bro. It's been going good. But let's talk about some of the matchups.
Yeah.
We did jiu-jitsu. We did MMA. This first jiu-jitsu match, we had Cesar Moreno, an almost adversary of yours at one point. You know what I'm saying? And then it's Mark. I have trouble with Mark's last name. But how do you say Mark's last name?
I don't know in particular. I'll give it a shot. Panagillion.
Oh, that was sick.
Yeah.
It was a sick match, dude. They came out, they opened the show up. Mark had guaranteed a finish, but he also guaranteed an exciting match. And Cesar really didn't want to get finished, and he wasn't really willing to scramble too much. It was like a wrestler versus jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it was. It seemed like as soon as the match started and he almost immediately got stuck in that triangle, it was sort of Cesar was of the mindset like, I'm not gonna get finished. Like I'd rather see the end of the fight than a result on the bad end of it. So he definitely just he found his comfortable spot in that triangle, and he's like, I'm just going to sit here and wait for Mark to make a decision to not be here anymore. And then after that, it just almost seemed like there was not enough time for Mark to set anything else up after that.
You know what? Hats off to Cesar, though, because Mark's not really an MMA guy. Cesar is. And Cesar could have slammed the fuck out of him right there. And to be honest, I was expecting more slams in the jiu-jitsu, because we opened that rule set up for you guys to be able to do that. And I honestly think Cesar could have slammed the fuck out of him, during that setup, because Cesar was a lot bigger too. Mm-hmm. Like Mark had a weight disadvantage, But Cesar was nice to not do that. And so I think, he was playing fair. And it's nice of the guys, to play fair. But for me, if I would have gone against Mark and I was stuck in a triangle like that and we're doing MMA rules, I would try to power bomb Mark for the finish.
It sort of feeds into the thought I had of like, as soon as he got stuck there, he's like, I'm not going to do anything that's going to give Mark any chance of finishing it. So it was mostly just like I'll sit and stall sort of thing.
Yeah, I would have gone for the power bomb. But the fans, I'll tell you right now, dude, the fans are very respectful. Because I know you guys, I know that grappling isn't always as exciting as MMA, especially when there's MMA on the card. It's hard to watch someone get knocked out fucking vicious and then sit there and be like, oh, nice fucking sweep, or whatever. But none of the fans booed during any of the jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, at all.
The crowd got a little quiet, but no one was like, oh, boo. And I was very happy that no one did that because they were fucking working. They're doing jiu-jitsu.
Yep. It definitely helped that it was at the very beginning of the show, let everybody sort of get their bearings and get acclimated to, go buying their drinks and getting set up to where they want to be at and stuff like that. So it was definitely a good sort of like taster for the rest of the night. But yeah, super respectful crowd the whole time. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 batches of booze throughout the whole night. So, I mean, it's super respectful.
Some of them didn't like the commission's calls, but we'll get to that a little bit later. The second jiu-jitsu match, Aris Aguelo versus Felix de la Pena. It was a tough match for Aris. But he's also an MMA competitor. They both compete in the same weight class in MMA. So in theory, Aris could have to see this man, But the game changes when strikes are involved. But I wanted to see how Aris did, and he went out there against a brown belt and Felix de la Pena, and and Felix got the triangle choke, but I enjoyed it. It was a good match.
It also didn't help Aris's cause that Felix had the motivation of having his father compete on the same card with him. So if you have a family member on the card, a teammate on the card, it's very hard to beat the motivation of somebody who's in there to impress not only like their family, but the people they train with, the people they are inspired by.
Felix de la Pena had been on the card the whole time as well. He had Isaac Ruiz out of Truckee, and that fight fell through. And so we brought in Aris in a grappling match, very short notice. So I appreciate Aris stepping up to do that one. It was a tough one for him, but he came out and he showed some good stuff. I liked his control against the cage. Because, Seth Pringle, his coach, they work a lot of clinch work. And so I felt like he was doing well, but I think just the technical grappling of the jiu-jitsu when it got to that point, Felix was a little bit more technical than him at that point.
Definitely would have helped if he had a longer plan for the fight. Like he knew the fight was coming more than, a week or 2 in advance. Yeah,
it was sick though. I really enjoyed it. We ended up having to move a couple around because Anthony Ozuna didn't show up quite on time. So that's why we put Angelo and Anthony further down the thing, but we went straight to Craig Wallace, which was supposed to be the main event because they were our black belts. But 2 of the matches had guys show up late. So we ended up putting them like in the middle of the MMA as the intermission. We were trying to do all the jiu-jitsu in the beginning and then MMA, but we had to switch it up a little bit. And then it ended up pissing off Ronald. And I'll get there in a second, Ronald. I'm sorry about that, bro, because I didn't mean to do that. But it happens sometimes. So
you got to be able to roll with the punches.
Yeah, because we ended up finishing the jiu-jitsu early, and then we started the MMA 10 minutes early, and because Jonathan Gonzalez was the first match out of Outlaw Jiu-Jitsu in San Francisco, they got 10 minutes cut into their warm-up, so they kind of just had to come out. And that's never how we want it to happen. It was only 10 minutes beforehand, but usually things are late. But that's something that happens in MMA sometimes.
Yeah, you always got to be prepared for whatever's going to come your way. Like you could be planning to be the main event, but you never know what's going to happen the day you show up.
I was the main event one show, I swear to God. And then the 2 fights before us, one guy didn't have his cup, and then one guy didn't have a mouthpiece. And so we went straight to the main event, no warm-up. It was in Stockton. And so it happens. So, But I felt bad. I don't like that happen. I don't want that to happen on my show, but it does happen. So, but Craig Wallace and Chino de la Pena, it was our black belt match. It was supposed to be the main event. And honestly, I think it was the best match. Technically, I think they did the best. Chino ended up getting that win.
Yeah. Again, it helps that his son competed right before him, got the victory, sort of set him up to have that energy, that fire burning right away. Jumped right into his match and definitely got the better half of that fight.
Vicious finish too. When he went for the finish, he went for the finish, and
that's black belts for you. They don't give you an opportunity to squirm your way out of something. If they have something locked in, they're gonna rip it.
Yeah, and Craig's jaw got tweaked for sure, and I could watch it, and I was just like, fuck. But that's how black belts get down, and so it makes sense that's how it happened. And hopefully Craig's good. I really appreciate him coming from Los Banos. Appreciate the whole Los Banos community that came and bought tickets. Really appreciate them. But they brought us into our first MMA fight, and it was the fans were so excited to see some MMA.
Yep.
And I was too. Jordan Fernandez out of AKA, he fought Jonathan Gonzalez, and it went well.
Yeah, it was a very good fight. Back and forth for a while. I think it went into the 2nd or 3rd round before there was a finish.
No, there was no finish.
There was no finish?
It was a split decision.
Huh?
Yeah, a split decision.
I know. When I walked out to the ramp, it was it was action most of the time. We had the fights rolling on the YouTube channel.
Were you guys able to watch them in the back?
Yeah, it was a little bit behind, but that was mostly my phone more than anything else. I think the fights on the channel itself were like maybe like 10 seconds behind, but on my phone it was like a full minute. So like I would go out there to the ramp, I would see what's going on, and then I would go back to my phone, and it would be sort of like a little replay of what I had just watched.
Let me ask you: do you like watching the fights while you're fighting? Do you like focus on your own shit?
Depends. If like I had quite a few teammates on the card, so when I couldn't be out there, like I had to be in the back doing my warm-ups and stuff like that, it was very good to have the fight sort of on my phone just so I could just glance down and see what was going on. It definitely helped out in this regard because I had the ability to sort of look down and see what was going on, the sort of like big picture events that were going on while the card was going on, and I knew something like this was going to happen where I was going to have to talk about it. So that was beneficial. But in terms of like staying focused for my fight, it's sort of neutral. Didn't matter one way or the other because I'm going to be sitting there doing something, whether it's listening to music or hitting the bag or something.
Yeah. So the second fight, I guess, God, don't get me started on this second. So it was supposed to be Ash Price versus Antonio Jimenez out of Gilroy. It was a great matchup. Antonio Jimenez out of Gilroy, he ended up backing out last second. So I got Xavier Chavez out of Dark Horse. Xavier Chavez, his medicals weren't done. Nothing was completed. But I told him, hey, I'm going to get all your stuff done for you, bro. We're going to make it happen. Get everything done for him. Get him in a position where he's ready to fight. Xavier Chavez, he's a training partner. I know him, bro. Xavier, we know each other, dog. And then he messages Ash the night before the event, hey, my medicals and stuff aren't done. I'm out. And, it's cool. Xavier, thanks, bro. His medical, everything was done. I had completed it. But I guess what happened was he got scared. And so he found a reason to pull out or whatever. And it's all good. But then Ash ended up pulling it. And then whatever. And then Xavier wanted to come back. Oh, I changed my mind. You guys don't message your opponents for any reason. Please don't. Not even if you pull out, if you don't talk to your opponent, dog. You can talk to him in face, but don't message him all like little weird shit. You guys are weird. Just show up and fight, please.
My one of my previous opponents messaged me the day of the fight, and it didn't end up well for him.
Just don't do it.
It's not a good idea.
It's insecurity creeping through when you start messaging your dude. You're scared. I can sniff it. Don't message your dude. So that's what happened with number 2. I'm still bitter about it, but it's all good. Xavier came to the show. He had a good time. He was there. I think he actually even wanted to fight. But don't message your fucking opponents, please, guys. Please don't do that anymore. But the third fight, it was sick. I mean, it was, for some people, it was sick. It was Ignacio Moreno, a good dude out of Gilroy, and then Ja'Kai Price, a come-up guy out of Salinas, and fuck, we almost had a riot.
Yeah, I mean, well, not that moment. It definitely happened later, but the
crowd got a little bit spicy after the taunting.
Oh yeah, that's right. After the knockout at the very end of the round, I think there was like 3 seconds left. Ignacio starts coming in a little bit too unbalanced, like with his head past his hips and his knees, and Ja'Kai sort of slips out this way, comes over with the right and just catches him. I don't know if it was like on the temple or like right on the jaw, but catches him in the sweet spot, puts him out. Ja'Kai does some unnecessary little like motions at him and some dances, but I mean, it was a good fight while it lasted. Ignacio afterwards turned right around, had the most positive attitude I've seen out of somebody who had just had the result he had, already looking to come back and put in the work, and seems a little bit even more motivated than he was beforehand. So that's good to see, at least.
You're definitely going to be motivated after a knockout like that. The only time I've been knocked out like that is when I was coming forward, just like Ignacio was. And in MMA, dude, you can't give them you give them an advantage when your momentum's going like this, and then they're coming like this, and then you add to their power. So I don't do that no more. I was trying to throw a flying knee when I got knocked out vicious and shit. But that's what will happen. Ja'Kai, I'd asked him during his interview, hey bro, if you knock somebody out, do you go in there and you try to clean them up, or do you, if they hit the ground, are they done? And he told me, he was, hey, if they hit the ground, they're done. He goes, I don't clean them up. And you know what, dude? he was a man of his word, dog, because he had an opportunity to swing one more shot on Ignacio before the referee had stepped in, and he went in there and just yelled at the back of Ignacio's head and shit, you know? And so, although, like, it's disrespectful in a sense, in my opinion, it's more disrespectful to KO somebody and then hit him in the fucking brain after it just got injured like that. And so...
A la Dan Henderson.
When when Adam Walmsley did it to me and shit, or when Dan Henderson did it to Bisbee, or when any of these guys do it to these other guys, it's like, come the fuck on, dog. Like, he's KO'd. Why are you serving him up another one? Please, like, don't do that, guys. So, although Jakai taunted, and the crowd didn't like it, and I didn't like it, I jumped in there and I was like, come on, dog, it's all good. He didn't swing not one more after the KO, and so I can respect him for that.
Yeah.
You know, and so, and Ignacio will live to fight another day, dude. One hit, minimal damage. No other hits. So Ignacio's brain gonna be okay, you know, and it's a lesson learned, you know.
And like I said, Ignacio immediately turned right around and spent, you know, anybody who gets knocked out or has a big loss like that is gonna go in the back and be sad. But like, it was very minimal. He was, you know, had his little moment, was emotional, and then immediately came back to showing me the footage, tell me what I did wrong. This is what we're gonna work on. Okay. Was out there like, all right, you win or you learn. Let's come back and let's learn. Let's get better. Let's grind. So it seems like he's definitely has the right head on his shoulders.
Yeah, he came up to me at the end of the event and he said, hey, thank you so much for a great event, and I'm looking forward to the next one. And I love Ignacio, bro. He's a great guy.
Biggest heart in the world.
Brings us into Reno Ibarra versus Jacinth Baker. Jacinth was the rapper out of Reno who wanted to see how he could do in MMA. You know, and Reno Ibarra was an up-and-comer, 1-0. He had a big finish on the Bay Area Combat Show. Had taken a little layoff, but he was back, motivated, ready. There was a little bit of a weight disparity. Jacinth was going to miss weight. I let Reno know that he was going to miss weight. They met right there around 143. They fought it out right there, and I enjoyed the fight. You know, I got to see a lot out of Reno. We didn't get to see much out of Reno that first fight. It was a quick finish. Jacinth brought him into, you know, at least the second round, and I enjoyed it. How'd you feel?
It was a very fun fight. You had talked about it earlier, where like, you know, you can slam him here. Like, there's no reason you can't. Reno threw that armbar up, and it looked very deep. And then Jakayev picks him up, slams him like. He went to slam him a second time, but he couldn't quite get it. Gets out of the armbar. They scramble a lot. There was a lot of scrambling in that fight, and I love to see that sort of thing. You know, it's cool to see somebody like stand up and control and smash, but one of the funnest types of fights are the ones where like people are changing position back and forth the whole time. There was very little amounts of lull in the action, so it was a good fight the entire way through.
I was stoked, bro. Between round 1 and 2, I seen that Pablo, my people from Reno, were cornering Jacinth, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, and it made sense. So Jacinth's from Reno, really has no corner, no training partners. He's just out there doing it himself. And then my buddies, for Pablo, he grappled. He was from Reno with his corner, and then they somehow ended up linking up. So they cornered him, and they're gonna put him on out there. They're gonna get Jacinth's grappling better. We got to see a lot out of Jacinth, a lot of unknowns. His debut, I think he showed a bunch of great work, a bunch of cool stuff. I think he has a lot of potential. I'm excited to see what Jacinth can do. Again, for Reno, same thing, a lot of potential. He was able to kind of overcome the bigger opponent. He was able to use his jiu-jitsu. He got slammed. He gave up mount going for an armbar. And I told him, I was like, bro, don't give up mount going for no armbar and shit. But those are things that you learn at this level to not make those mistakes at the higher level, you know? And then, fuck, Jacinth slammed him. I expected more of that in the grappling, to be honest. But Jacinth gave him that, and I really enjoyed that fight, dude.
Yeah, it was super fun the whole way through. Very, very cool to see, you know, the expansion of being able to go from something so quickly in that first fight with Reno to, like you said, going into the second, showing off more of like his gas tank and how much energy he has. Those little guys, man, they just do not stop going.
Well, he had a failed takedown attempt early. He pulled guard. He used the pulled guard to like try to get a sweep. Reno showed some moves, you know, and I was like, you know, that's what I wanted to see out of him, man, and see if he could pull it off under pressure with the punches coming down at your face. And he was able to stay composed, and so I see a bright future for young Reno. I think he's young, so I think he should take his time, but I think he'll, you know, before you know it, like something will happen with young Reno.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that one. The fifth fight, Vincent Rave versus Brandon Villalobos. And And Vincent, he's sick, bro. He comes from Ukiah, brings a huge crowd. The Fiera Family Fighting Academy, right? I love them. And Brandon Villalobos, he had two rough opponents, dude. He had Zeke and then he had Vincent, and so he's a better fighter than his record reflects. But I also started my camo career at 1-2, 1 win, 2 losses, and I didn't let it deter me. You know, you win or you learn. And so, did you watch that one?
Yeah, I watched that one. I watched it live from the ramp, and then I also watched the replay quite a few times. You know, it's the one of the situations where Camo sort of had like a wishy-washy result where the ref kind of sort of stopped it a bit early. That head kick was gnarly. He went down hard, but he did bounce right back up. Vincent did, or not Vincent, Villalobos, jumped right back up, was immediately back on defending. Probably could have defended himself from what was coming at him, but you know, when the ref sees what he saw there with that vicious head kick, especially in amateurs, I'm not too surprised that they jumped in there. For how long the fight lasted, it was extremely exciting. And then to your point, I think I also started off my career at 1-2. Barely, I think 2 times in my amateur career I've been past the 50% marker. So you like the amount of skills someone has isn't always reflected by their record. I mean, Artem Lovov was in the UFC for so long, and he had, I think, like 15, 20 losses.
Yeah. And Brandon, he's a good jiu-jitsu practitioner. He wants to come and do a jiu-jitsu super fight in Gilroy. So I'm going to try to get him out there on that one. And, you know, Wayne Phillips, he's a fucking middleweight pro fighter at an AKA. That was a referee for the fight, you know. So it's not like Wayne doesn't know what he's doing, you know. And Wayne sees fucking people all the time. You know, it's just, unfortunately, just the head kick landed flush. And Wayne was like, fuck, bro, I got to jump in here and save you, dog, you know.
There's a major difference between professionals and amateurs. Like, I'm almost certain if that was a pro fight, he would have taken a couple seconds to wait to see if Villalobos was going to pop back up. But I mean, you get dropped with a head kick like that, that's pretty vicious.
Yeah, and it's Wayne. Wayne knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that's why it's easy to talk shit on the refs. Oh, refs, they don't know shit. Like, they don't even train. Like, fucking Wayne does know shit.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
Wayne
we had what, like 1, 2, 5, 10. We had 12 fights on the card, and what, they got maybe 2 wrong or slightly wrong. Yeah. So, I mean, that's still a B+ average. So that's perfectly fine in most organizations.
And of course, not to take anything away from Vincent. Vincent said he was practicing the head kick all camp, set up the head kick, timed it perfectly on one of Brandon's low kicks, landed it flush, following up a ground and pound. So Vincent did everything he needed to do.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, Brandon, God knows what happened there. But I wish you didn't feel the way you feel about it, you know. But it is what it is, and so
it'll only make you better in the long run. Adversity only builds up character.
Yeah, and you want to, honestly, dude, I want everyone to fucking win, dude. I really do. I meet all the guys. I interview them. I like these guys. I like all the guys. I rarely interview a fighter, and I'm just like, oh, I fucking hate this guy. It's usually someone who's super arrogant that doesn't train a lot that I won't like. If you're arrogant because you fucking train all the time and you're super fucking confident, you earned it. You earned it. It's those people that are confident for no reason.
Yeah.
And you're like, how the fuck did you even get this? Like, what made you this? Those are the people that rub me the wrong way. But honestly, I want all the fighters to win, and then half of them lose. So it is what it is. The Angelo Henry from Seaside, the Reality Fitness LLC, they're out there. Levels MMA. He's the head coach out there. He fought Anthony Azuna out of Fresno, Concrete Jungle, and Angelo, he got a quick finish. He went in there and got a quick finish, you know. But it was a harder match for Anthony. Angelo, he's been training for a long time. Although he's not belted, he has a lot of very, very good coaches. His lineage is very well known, and he would tell you all about it. I can't remember his lineage, but ask Angelo, he'll tell you. And Anthony, he came and he showed out. He didn't really want to tap. I'm glad that the referee, you know, called the match, because it probably would have been an injury, you know, and I don't want to see people get injured.
Especially on like joint locks and things where like things will break. It's a little bit different if you're about to go unconscious. I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but you know, you break an arm, break a leg, break an elbow, man, you're out for a long time. Yeah,
he had the Americana on him. He would have ripped up the whole elbow and maybe a little shoulder.
Yeah, a little rotator cuff.
So thank you, Angelo. And Angelo told me, he goes, hey, bro, I had it. I didn't crank it. You know, I knew that, you know, you didn't have insurance on those bouts. Shit. I had insurance, you know what I'm saying? But, I don't like using my insurance. It's never good to use your insurance. So I appreciate Angelo. Because Angelo does shows also. He does the War by the Shore and Seaside. So he knows what I'm going through. He goes, hey, bro, I wasn't gonna put that on your head like that. So got the finish. It was a sick match. It brought us into what ended up being our jiu-jitsu main event, which I didn't mind it because Pablo Gomez, who's a buddy of mine out of Reno, cornered me for a couple of my MMA fights. I lost the state title in Fresno. He was in my corner. And then Tristan Arenal out of Milpitas, that's Coach Tristan, man. He cornered me for a bunch of my pro fights. And so there were two high-level grapplers, and they went back and forth. 10 minutes is a long time. Did you watch it?
No, that is the only grappling match I didn't watch any of at all. I didn't really have an opportunity. Me and Isaac were prepping him for his fight that was coming up after that. There was a little bit of, like you said, the people showing up late kind of pushed things back, and we had to do the intermission and all that sort of stuff. So there was a bit of a scramble in our little camp trying to figure out when exactly Isaac was going to go out. So that was the only fight grappling match I didn't really watch any of. But from what I went back and saw on the video, it was really cool being able to see all the different transitions and movement and sort of trying to control but not getting able to because the other guy's moving around. It was very good grappling match to watch.
I know right around 8 minutes, they both wanted to die in there. They were both so tired, and I could see it. And I know that's how you're going to feel right around 8 minutes in front of everybody going for it. But they had switched positions a bunch. I was hoping someone was going to get the finish, but luckily they held in there, man, and there was no finish. And so both of my buddies were winners.
Yeah.
Or losers, however you want to look at it, but no winner. No, it was a draw, but fuck it. It brought us into almost our line of title fights. We had one fight, and then we had all title fights for the last little portion of the MMA. But we had Isaac Martinez versus Rafael Jimenez, and we had to put this fight together late. It was a short notice fight for both of them, and it was honestly on paper it was a tough fight for Isaac Martinez, but it was also the shorter notice for Rafael Jimenez. And the fight was sick while it lasted. Unfortunately, there was an accidental headbutt that kind of led to the finish. And it shit happens. It happens in MMA. It'll probably be a no contest. We'll see what the result ends up being. Like I don't really know how that works, but it's been brought up to the attention of the commission. But fuck, dude, Rafael, he was impressive, bro. He cut the weight. He showed up. Isaac Martinez looks like an action figure.
Yeah.
And Rafael doesn't look like that, So it's kind of like a yin and yang of body compositions, in the fight. Rafael landed a big shot early, kind of stumbled Isaac. Isaac had started turning it up. You know what I'm saying? You could see he was turning it up, and then he was kind of pressuring. And then Rafael had done like a little duck and roll with the pressure, and came up right on Isaac's chin with the headbutt. I don't even think he realized it landed like that. He finished him off with a couple strikes to the side of the head. I was actually right. I didn't even see the headbutt. I was on the stool, like in the corner, just watching the fucking fights from on this little stairs that I had put up there for a photographer. There was no photographer up there. I walked up there. I was literally in the corner where it happened, and I put my hand on Isaac's back was on the cage. I put my hand on his back. It's gonna be okay, dog. And it fucking sucks, bro.
Yeah, I mean like you were saying, the fight was going. It was exciting right off the bat. The major shot that Isaac took and then popped right back up. They went to the cage. They were swapping back and forth in terms of positions. Isaac was gaining control over those caged positions up against the wall, and then he decided to break away. They were throwing bombs at each other, and then Rafael has his back up against the cage. Like you said, he does that little duck, and then the only place for you to go is forward. So he comes forward. Isaac comes forward. Something's got to hit together. It just happened to be the heads, unfortunately. And I know for certain Rafael had no idea that it was his head that hit him. There was some conversations that happened afterwards on the fight. Big respect to Rafael. He's a stand-up guy coming out and being almost the first person to contact Isaac and be like, yeah, man, I'm so sorry about what happened afterwards. If I had known it was a headbutt, I definitely wouldn't have celebrated like that. That's not the way I wanted this to end. It was a good fight. And he was right the whole way through. It was a great fight for how long it lasted. It's unfortunate, but, these things happen. It's the fight game. It's not like we're playing patty cake out there.
Rafael, they're out of One Nation in Bakersfield. And to be honest, I was just so, when Rafael stepped in, I called him. And he just seemed it's hard, bro, because he's a nice fucking guy, bro. seemed like a guy that like deserved to win. You know, his like the way he carries himself throughout the world seemed like a guy that deserves to win. But same with Isaac Martinez, you know. And so that, I mean, you get conflicted, bro, because it's like, fuck, crazy, dude. And then Rafael, I shot a promo with him. I don't know if you remember the promo I shot that when he was cutting weight.
Yeah.
Just I'm one of super respectful promo, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and then accidental headbutt, and so maybe we'll run that one back again. We'll see. You know, that was also he gives a catch weight. You know, so both of them were like not really in their weight class, and so I'd like to do that one again.
Yeah, with a full camp on both sides, that would be really cool.
I'd like to do that one again, and so hopefully we'll do that. And I don't want to take anything away from Rafael. He showed up on short notice and he fought his heart out. Don't want to take nothing away from Isaac. Unfortunate result.
Yeah,
you know?
if we do end up getting that fight again, it's going to be even better because they're going to have a full camp. But beyond that, it'll be past Isaac's third fight, so neither one of them will have shin guards on. They'll be going for 3 minutes as opposed to 2 minutes. So it was definitely super unfortunate, but there are silver linings at least.
That's funny you say that because I was thinking that same thing. I might do the rematch. Will be 3 threes, no shins. It'll be more of a real fight in the rematch anyway.
Yep.
Maybe try to get a title on those guys and shit because Rafael is 5-0 now too. You know.
Yep.
And so fuck. I mean, and that's and for Isaac to want to go against the, you know, I mean, I guess he's 4-0-1. We'll see what the result is going to be. But still, Rafael is a force to be reckoned with, and Isaac wants that. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
bro.
Isaac's not the kind of guy to shy away from a challenge.
Brought us right into our title fights. Edmund Kwan out of AKA, and then Nate Santos out of Team Take Flight in Salinas. The fight was sick. You know, unfortunately, Nate is a small welterweight, and then Edmund is a big welterweight, and it's hard to get out of mountain when there's a big-ass motherfucker on you, bro.
Yep, and Kwan is definitely not somebody who doesn't know what to do on the ground. He seemed like he definitely has his grappling legs on him. He immediately went to the right positioning. You know, Santos was trying everything to get that man off of him. Unless that man could bench a car, I don't think he was going to get him off him though. Yeah. And as soon as he found, you know, security in that mount position, just started unloading.
Nate's young. He has a lot of room to fill out. So he will fill into that weight class or maybe even bigger in time. But as of right now, he's a little bit undersized for the weight class, you know, to be
sitting
honest.
In that limbo position.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because he's young too, so you don't want to it's a weird position for same day weigh-in. But dude, Edmund came in, he set up the takedown. He showed he wanted to strike, and they set up the takedown. You know, you got to make them think you're striking, for them to give you, you know, really to set that shit up right. And so he did everything that we practice, and he executed, and he's 5-0 now.
Yep.
So he's fucking a savage too, bro.
Yeah. Strong everywhere. Looked like you were saying, even though he was just setting up to show, I can do stand up, like what he was showing, it looked like he was dangerous up there too. So even if he doesn't get the opportunity to put his opponent on the ground, it looks like he doesn't have any problem standing up either.
Yeah, I would have been stoked with either of them as my champion because I love Salinas, Team Take Flight. They're a little bit closer than, he's in Newport Beach. Edmund's from Newport Beach. He's at AKA right now, but I'm stoked Edmund's my champion. Jacob Horton was my welterweight champion. He kind of forfeited his belt to you know, handle his personal life, you know, for these next couple shows. So now both of my champs are out of AKA. So we're not going to be able to unify that belt with those two. So Edmund's the champ, you know, and then we'll have to get Jacob Horton back in the mix somewhere. But honestly, too, Edmund might go pro soon, so we'll see. Jacob's a little bit younger.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of changes that happen in amateur. There's not a lot of amateurs out there that are trying to fight double-digit type fights. I know I do. Yeah, it is what it is. So most people are also not trying to fight their teammates, so it's understandable.
Yeah. So Edmund, you're my champ. It was a sick fight. That brings us into Andrew Toste versus Anthony Scott 2. Talk to me about it. Let me say 2 cents before we say it started. Anthony Scott's walkout was sick. Did you hear it?
No, I was totally zoned in. I don't even remember what song he played.
It was Drake. I'm looking for revenge. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for revenge. And I was just like, he's coming for revenge. Didn't quite get it.
No, didn't quite. Anthony looked a lot better. Like from the first fight we had to this one, showed, at least in my eyes, from what I watched back and what I experienced in there, he was way stronger. He was way faster. He saw a lot more coming at him than he saw the first fight. There's just you can only close the gap in grappling so quickly if you haven't been doing it your whole life. So, I mean, the path to victory was sort of the same. Going into the fight, I actually had this mindset that I was just going to try to stand with him the whole time. And then coach in the back was like, so what's your plan here? And I was like, oh, I think I'm going to stand with him. And he just sort of went silent for a second. And he's like, you should at least take him down in the first round. And I was like, okay, I'll listen to you.
Well, dude, because I'm partnering with you guys for this show in Gilroy. You know what I'm saying? And I fuck with Ant Dogs, bro. I love Gilroy, dude. And you guys are a big contributor to the show. But it was a tough run after those first 2 fights for you guys. And I didn't really but it is what it is. Fight game, dog. But I was just like, ugh. And so when your fight was coming up, I guarantee that they were like, yeah, finish, go get there and take the smart route to victory.
Yeah, and coach,
let's not take any chances.
And coach Anthony was the one that was telling me to do the takedown, and then Coach Co in the back was like, just preaching the fact that I needed to stay patient. That's basically the thing that sort of was our downfall the first 2 fights. Ignacio kind of coming forward a bit too hastily with his head past his knee. And then even a little bit on Isaac where he came in with his head and that sort of led to the headbutt. So it was sort of an acclamation of both coaches' advice, stay patient and shoot the takedown that led to the path of victory for me.
Does the energy change in the back? Do you feel something different? Because I fought on the same card with teammates when there's been wins, losses, and it can sometimes there's like a little emotional roller coaster going on back there with your friends competing, your teammates competing. How was it for you having to go in there after the two L's for your team?
There's motivation no matter what. It's just a matter of how you find that motivation. So going into the card before it started, there was a whole lot of excitement. Like I was ready to sort of been like, yeah, I'm going to keep it going. And then, the results happened in the first 2 and the motivation's still there. It just changes from like positive reinforcement into like, all right, well, I'm not going to let this keep going. Like we're going to change what's going on right now. I don't give a damn. You could have put the Hulk in front of me. I'm going to make sure that I got the win no matter what. That was sort of like my motivation going into that fight for sure.
Yeah, I just felt like you guys needed it. But you were the guy to do it, and is it so the game plan did change a little bit. You were going to strike and then you grappled. The grappling felt okay though down there?
Yeah, I think the main reason I wanted to do the striking was this was a super short notice fight. I think I took it at like 48, maybe 2 or 3 days before the card was. Yeah. So I had been planning for somebody completely different, and that plan for that fight was to stay standing almost the whole time. Work a lot of specific things, head kicks, throwing out the jab, shifting left and right, doing a lot of feet movement, stuff like that. So I definitely used that in this fight, but just to a different end. Instead of trying to stay standing and sprawl out, it was, fake the shot, throw the hands, actually shoot, that sort of thing. So the game plan did change a little bit, but it was still a matter of working what we had used throughout the camp.
Sick. Yeah, you look good, bro. You did. I was impressed. You're the double champ now. Congratulations. These are your belts up here on the bookshelf. Those are Andrew's belts. I don't have any belts. Andrew brought his belts, and
I'm a nice guy like that.
Fucking double champ, bro. It brought us into Alan Silhanic, your teammate, versus Israel Smith. And I would not like to do that, have you guys back to back like that. But unfortunately, you guys had 4 guys. That's just kind of how it sat.
Yeah, and then also because, you had already set up these giant human beings behind us. It's very hard to put a heavyweight, a middleweight title fight sitting behind the smaller guys. Even the UFC doesn't like to do it. So It makes a lot of sense.
They put the big guys up there. It was sick, bro. We got Alan Silhanic versus Israel Smith. Your teammate against, a guy from Institute of Combat, the gym that I debuted out of as an amateur out there in Arcata. And so with John Thompson, one of my original coaches, signed off on my pro debut. They made the trip down. He fought your teammate, Alan Silhanic, and Alan is a fucking formidable force.
Man is a monster. I did an interview yesterday and I mentioned it. The man throws with so much power, it's crazy. Like how he generates so much force at, what was this fight, 135?
Yeah.
Like, come on. That man throws with so much heat, it's insane. The highlight reel the knockout he has on his highlight reel, crazy. And we were sort of talking about before, both the Smith brothers are crazy talented. And to see Israel come out and be like, you know what? I don't think I want to stand with Allen. Yeah, I wouldn't either. That man throws so hard.
Yeah, and when you're an amateur, you're not trying to get knocked out for free. And fuck, bro, there's a highlight reel knockout of your opponent, knocking some dude's fucking block off, and then you got to go in there and you might have a grappling game plan. You know, if you're a grappler too, you can feel comfortable there. Allen's ground and pound is some of the most vicious I've ever seen in the amateur ranks. Vicious for pro ranks, really, but it's probably the most vicious I've ever seen at amateur. His ability to generate force with his ground and pound, shatters his hand, doesn't shatter it, but breaks it enough to displace it where it's going to require surgery, and then keeps swinging with it.
Yeah, he broke it in the very first round. The fight goes all 3 rounds, and every single round there's maybe a 10-second barrage where he's just standing up and just unloading with everything he's got. I don't know if I'd be able to do that with the break he had in his hand. In the back, you literally just saw a giant empty cavern where his knuckle used to be. It was crazy how much force he throws behind those hands. And then one thing I wanted to mention was how cool, there was this moment, I think it was at the end of the second or maybe the end of the first, where almost the whole crowd are just chanting Allen's name. There's that video clip that you were talking about, I think Jesse made, where you just hear the soundbite of everyone just screaming, Allen, Allen. It was a really cool moment to see almost packed house cheering the same person's name out.
Had to have felt good for him. He had kind of been gifted the belt. He'd been gifted the title, and so I'm
in
sure...
a way he did not want. That is what the way he was gifted that belt is literal nightmare fuel for me.
Yeah, it's disgusting, but I had to do it because fuck, he made weight and just showed up, and so I gave him the belt, but that was obviously not the way he wanted it. He probably really didn't feel like he had earned it, and now he has earned it.
Yes, definitely has earned it.
So sick fight, bro.
More than earned it.
Yeah, thank you, Israel, for making the trip. And then that brought us into, a heavyweight affair. Lorenzo Figueroa, he had put both, he would put his heavyweight belt up for grabs. They were fighting for the vacant cruiserweight belt. O'Brien Younger, he was a teammate of mine, at an AKA. Lorenzo, a former training partner of mine here in Santa Cruz. And fuck, bro, it's 2 heavyweights with heavy hands. And it showed, dude.
Immediately showed.
It was a quick fight. Both walkouts were sick. The Tongans from Oakland were fucking going crazy. All the Santa Cruz was going crazy for Larry. The stage was set. It was sick, bro. For the Civic, I appreciate them, kind of the theatrics that they put behind it because it makes it cool, Yep. And it was a cool moment. It obviously didn't go the way O'Brien Younger wanted it to go, and none of my coaches either. Those are my coaches. I had to go in the cage afterwards, and my own coach was like, "Hey, bro, how much did you pay the officials?" It's like, come on, dog. I didn't. It was $200. I paid him $200. I wish, homie. What the fuck, dog? Dog. You know what I'm saying?
You have $200 to even just throw around for something like that.
Homie, I can't. Whoever wins is the winner, dog. And I really and bro, this right here, what we're doing right here, Andrew, is a perfect example of whoever is the winner is the fucking winner. You know what I'm saying? When you won the 155-pound belt from Raul. And Raul decided to be a little bitch and not fight no more and cry. I moved on and started promoting you. Raul was my main guy I was promoting. But then you won and you want to fight, and now you're my main guy I'm promoting. The winner gets the cheese, dog. The winner's gonna get the promotion, and whoever wants to do it, I'm gonna bring them as far as I can bring them. Give them the best opportunity to show their skills.
Yeah.
So
I also it's not if you were to pick somebody, you're not gonna pick the guy who has a 2-2 record, a 2-3 record. You're going to pick the guy who's undefeated or has maybe one loss and, has the local people behind him, all that sort of shit. There's no reason to think that anybody had any influence on any of the refs in there, especially the refs from Camo. They don't take any bullshit from anybody. I definitely, watching back the fight initially, the first 2 watches, I kind of couldn't see where the reasoning was to stop the fight. And then after listening to Jim come in there and explain it in the cage, I watched it back again and I was like, oh, Now it makes sense because when he was falling back, it looked like he was conscious, but that was after he ate that second hook that second punch that sort of woke him up. You definitely see Lorenzo hit him. I think it was like with an overhand or a straight right, and he goes mannequin out for a second. And then that other punch comes in and he sort of falls back and he's coming to. So I definitely see what the ref was seeing. Also, another thing you got to consider is these are heavyweights. If he takes any other unnecessary punch, that's a considerable amount of damage he's taking.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, you guys. I know you guys think I'm bloodthirsty promoter. I don't want to see nobody get knocked the fuck out in there on my show. It's amateur. Save your brain injuries for professional. When people are getting knocked out on my show, I kind of reflect like, was that a mismatch? Did I fuck up? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see nobody get knocked the fuck out. So if the referee, and also too, Wayne Phillips, come on, he trains with us at AKA. He's on the staff at Camo. It's like, come on, dog, that's our teammate. If they jump in there and they prevent somebody from getting knocked the fuck out, thank you, Camo. I hate to say it, and so, but O'Brien, it's his debut. O'Brien has a huge, bright future ahead of him. He came in with that giant moment O'Brien just went through against his 2-0 undefeated for the double titles. That's just the beginning for O'Brien. He's already had to handle all of that pressure and fight through it. Like, O'Brien's future is so bright. Larry's talking about retiring. So, fuck. I'm probably going to be promoting O'Brien more than Lorenzo. So, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, guys. Like, but hats off to Larry because Larry went in there and put hands on him, and then the referee called it. So I didn't like the way the crowd was upset. I don't want nobody upset like that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's how the cookie crumbles. You got to find silver linings where you can see them. Like you were saying, like he had such a big moment of experience on his first fight that anything after this is just going to be cake. It's sort of like a small experience similar I had. My first fight was against Jesse Rosas. And his brother is now the youngest fighter in the UFC. So you take those small little moments that, in the moment seem really bad, but in hindsight are going to end up building you up and building your character and know who you are now.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Tongans from Oakland. We didn't really want it to go down like that, but that's how the cookie crumbled. And
Daniel loves the Hawaiian people, bro.
You know what? I know it's a stereotype that he's trying to empower. I do love the Hawaiian people, yeah. I love the Islanders, dog. Like, and honestly, but when all that was going on, I was just like, wow, dude. Like, it's like karma.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Come back to bite me. But Camo was cool. Order was restored. And there was a big boost in ticket sales after that little fight because a bunch of people from Santa Cruz that were watching it on their YouTube came down to back us up. Swear to God. The box office was like, a bunch of people showed up for the last two fights. And I was like, dude, what? And they're like, oh, yeah, we thought you guys needed backup. We did need backup. Come down, buy a ticket. You know what I'm saying? Why are you at home watching it on YouTube for free? You're 3 minutes away from the venue, bro. Come on down. Come check it.
It's an experience.
Because it was sold out, bro. No, I talked to a bunch of kids that tried to come, and it was sold out. It had sold out a couple different times early. I had forgotten to give them like tickets back from weigh-ins that they could re-release. Part of it's my fault too, and I'll be better. And then I gave away 300 plus tickets. All these fucking tickets I gave away to. I mean, people
you live and you learn.
People that weren't going to come, and I wanted them to come see the show. I needed them to experience it live, and the show was so sick. So the people that weren't going to come, that came because I gave them a ticket, that got to experience that. You're welcome, motherfuckers. I knew you'd like it.
Yeah, CCFC has only put on 3 shows, and every single time it's gotten better and better and better.
So sick, bro.
Yeah, you had the first show at the Civic, second show at the
Coconut Grove. Yeah.
Both you can see between the first Civic to this Civic that the quality of the show is only getting better. So you can only expect that the next time you do it at the Coconut Grove, the next time you do it at the Civic, the next time you do it anywhere, it's just going to continuously get better and better.
I want to go to the Warriors Stadium in Santa Cruz, right where the Santa Cruz Warriors play. It's 2,500 people. We're going to pack it. It's going to be sick, bro. We might do the Civic one more time. Obviously we're doing Gilroy Cinco de Mayo weekend, and Gilroy's going to be sick. We might do the Civic one more time, but then we're going to be at the Warriors Stadium, 2,500 people packing the house every time. Central Coast Fighting Championships. Mark my words. But, what's cool about Connor? Connor was like, I'd say it and then I'd do it. I feel very similar about the shit that you do. You say you're going to do it and then you go ahead and do it. Yeah. And then I'm trying to do that same thing. I think we're going to go to the Warrior Stadium, pack it out, and we will see.
Yep.
We will see. The last 2 fights were so sick, bro. Jeffrey Bonilla at a team tape fight against Gabriel Smith at an Institute of Combat in Arcata. I gave it fight of the night.
Yeah, if I had awards to give, I would have given 2 awards for this fight. Best fight shorts of the night, Jeff Bonilla. Those shorts, the bandana printed shorts, those things were sick. And then, like you said, fight of the night. The entire fight, beginning to end, was nonstop action. Both of them connecting with big shots, both of them scrambling the whole time. Neither one of them, they were both taking massive shots, but it didn't look like there was an end in sight. There was always action going every single second of the fight. Throwing crazy combos, both eating major shots. It was insane beginning to end.
These 125ers are fucking sick, bro. It was. And the thing that was different about this fight, the bigger heavyweight, I mean, no one wants to get knocked out. I know that. But when Joe Thoreau was getting rocked, he was grappling. Anytime someone got rocked, they tried to engage in a grappling exchange, to gain some of their wits about them. These guys were rocking each other and not even going for a takedown or trying to just stumbling and then fucking throwing bigger. I was like, what the fuck? They were going for it.
Yep.
And that's why I gave that fight of the night, dog, because they were rocking each other. Neither one was like, oh, no, I'm going to grapple now. I'm getting rocked. They're like, no, fuck that. I'm going to rock you back. Yeah. And fuck, dude, now Jeffrey Bonilla is fucking 5-0 and shit. Number 1 contender for the state title. It was supposed to be a state title fight. We ended up dropping the ball on that one, and it's me and Antonio's fault. But we'll get it soon. They wanted to see the show build a little bit, I think, is what it is. They just didn't want to give it to my show. The athletes deserved it. They didn't want to give it to my show. And so I feel bad for the athletes because they did deserve it. But now he's the number 1 contender, Jeffrey, and Gabriel's in a great place. Him and his brother are both savages.
Yeah.
So it was sick.
That's my biggest takeaway from the Smith brothers fights is they did not take any easy route. They were like, we're going to take the hardest challenge that we can find for both of them. Alan and Jeff are both insanely talented. So the fact that both of these guys came in, they looked ready to go at weigh-ins. They were focused. They looked zoned in. They looked hyped for the fight. Neither one of them looked like they were intimidated at all. And they both went in there and fought like they weren't intimidated at all. That was an amazing showing for a pair of brothers that came out on the losing side of the result. They definitely made a fan out of me on both ends.
Yeah, they're sick as fuck, bro. And we're going to work with them again. They came in and fought 2 hometown guys with a huge following. And just, and so it's hard. And so now we got to bring some guys up. We got to fight them in their hometown. Because Institute of Combat, they do a show right there at Cherry Heights Casino. And it's hard to get guys up there, so they don't do it very often. But when they do it, it's sick.
And that's a super talented gym.
Yeah, we're going to bring that Cass Bell. They have Tyson Miller. We're going to bring that Juan, the head coach John Thompson, and they're sick. We're going to bring some guys up there. We're going to repay the favor for what they did for us. But it brought us into the main event. Joe Thoreau out of Dark Horse in San Jose. Pedro Trujillo out of One Nation in Bakersfield. Fucking Pedro was a youngster. And damn youngster, you did good. Joe had the whole crowd behind him. Joe came away with the win. Joe's cardio was a little bit in jeopardy because apparently he had been sick previously. Joe, I'm not going to say he underperformed, but I had higher expectations for my middleweight champion out of Joe Thoreau because he's getting ready to make that pro debut. But I had found out that he had gotten sick in camp, and that's the thing. That's why we do these. That's why we find out how we're going to perform.
Exactly.
If we're sick as fuck 2 weeks before the fight, should we pull or do we fight? If you don't ever go out and fight, you don't know if you're able to do that or not.
Yep.
And so now he knows at the next level, if he gets sick that close to camp, then he might need to pull out, especially 5-minute rounds. But Pedro, my God, dude, fucking youngster, stud, came in, landed sick fucking techniques, slammed Joe a couple times. Joe was able to make it all happen, make it all work. But it was a perfect test for Joe. Joe got the dub, but it could have gone either way.
Yeah, the fight basically hinged on a couple different moments in each round. That first round, I didn't know who you could have given it to up until the point where he fell back and Joe landed in mount. Up until that point, it was back and forth the whole time. And then when they finally did get back up, again, back and forth the whole time. I didn't want to be a judge going into the finals of that fight. blessed I didn't have to judge it because I don't know what I would have decided. That fight was crazy back and forth. I'm glad that Pedro sort of showed his character at the very end and still had his hands up. He was super proud of his performance because if I was in Pedro's shoes, I would have been proud of that performance. That was insanely, like, they showed so much skill on both ends. Like you said, Joe coming out and facing adversity in terms of, like, being sick and not having the camp that he wanted to have for an opponent that was short notice for him as well. Yeah. This is what amateurs are about. You learn about running into obstacles and the adversity you're going to run into and overcoming that adversity regardless of what reason you have for not wanting to do it. Joe went out there, did his thing, handled his business, and came out with a W.
It was sick. Pedro had 2 big slams, so Pedro tried to slam Joe. Joe landed in full mount. I'll tell you right now, Pedro, if you hadn't have done that, I think the fight would have gone the opposite way. I think that was like a determining factor in that round that changed the momentum of that round, that probably gave Joe that round. And then Joe know that too. If the youngster hadn't like tried to slam you and you landed in full mount, like that fight might have gone the other way. So it was a great fight. There's room for improvement on both ends, and I'm excited to see what both of you guys do moving forward. Joe obviously has his pro debut coming up soon, probably the end of this year. Pedro, I'd like to see Pedro do a couple more amateur fights, but I think it's the future right there, dog. When you're 19 and you're doing it like that, bro, like, because Joe's a savage, dude. Pedro's a fucking gnarly, bro.
Yep, Pedro. Also, the man has the thickest mane of hair I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Dude, like, most extravagant hair ever, and then comes out here in his, like, samurai sort of, like, bund-up thing and did his thing. At 19 years old, you said?
Yeah.
The sky is the absolute limit for that guy. For sure.
Yeah, we need to get him a Head and Shoulders sponsorship.
Yeah, it looked like a Troy Polamalu out there.
Right? Sick, huh? So that was the fight show. It went good. I was stoked. All the fights were sick, bro. The crowd was sick. The venue was sick. The stage was set, bro. And CCFC 3 was a success, but CCFC 4 is right around the corner. We're coming to Gilroy. I'm stoked to come to Gilroy for May. It's gonna be kind of hot, but kind of not. On the verge of getting hot out there. And what are your thoughts on Gilroy May?
Well, I'm a little biased in this regard. I don't have to travel for my fight, which is the first time I've not had to do that. So that's going to be super exciting. Gilroy as a city sort of needs another new summer event now that they no longer have the Garlic Festival. That's now in, I think, Fresno. So the city is going to be raring to go for something. And this is definitely that something. It's going to be super packed. I'm sure that all the Gilroy High students that, do the wrestling events and stuff like that will be looking for something to go to, or right around the corner from DC's Wrestling Academy. Ant Dog's gym is right there. There's so many different people that work in sort of with the community that are going to be integral parts of this. So I'm sure the entire city is going to be super excited to have this out there.
We're still in negotiations with the venue, so we're going to release the venue names very soon. The weigh-ins are going to be in Ant Dogs, unless we might do it at the Pour Me Tap Room. We're going to talk to your people. I know those are your people. You will be one part of the main event. We're still trying to lock in your opponent, but Toasty's going to main event that Cinco de Mayo show in Gilroy, and so that's going to be fucking sick. You've been main event a lot of shows, though, huh?
I think I main evented the show, the Bay Area Combat show against Raul. That's the only main event I've been in. I've been a couple co-mains, but I haven't been the main event other than the Bay Area Combat one.
That was a big show though, with you and Raul. I think that was the biggest show the Civic had ever seen until this last show. So sick, bro. Any final words for the fight fans out there?
Get ready for the Cinco de Mayo weekend. Call your friends. Clear your schedules, get your days off of work, because you're going to want to be here for that. It's going to be an exciting event for everyone involved. I know the entire gym, Ant Dog's gym, is absolutely buzzing about it. Everyone's trying to figure out exactly where they can fit in, if they can make their debut, if they can do a grappling match, if they can get into this, into that. There's going to be so many different people throughout the city that are going to be want to be a part of this. You don't want to miss out on it. Don't wait until the event, starts selling tickets at the door, because like he said, for CCFC 3, you don't know when they're going to sell out. So get your tickets as soon as you can.
And I partnered with fucking Ant Dogs for this one, dude. So I really appreciate Ant Dogs because I wouldn't have been able to go out to Gilroy on my own. I don't fucking know Gilroy and shit. So, but the Central Coast Fighting Championships, I wanted to service the Central Coast. So I wanted to be able to go to different areas. I'm working on going out to Seaside with Angelo, but of course Angelo's going to have to help me come out there, and Angel was willing to help me come out to Gilroy. And so thank you so much, Ant Dogs, for letting me do that. I'm stoked to partner with you guys. I'm super excited for CCFC 4. It's coming up in about 3 months here, and so a little under 3 months. Main event right here with me. And fuck, bro, we're good, huh? Anything else?
No, I think that's it. Be on the lookout. I have some fight news coming up for myself here, getting a fight in before the CCFC card in Gilroy. That way, just to get myself prepped. I don't like taking long layoffs. Like 3, 4, 5 months between fights. So I like to keep it going. I'm going to get some fight news coming out here in the near future, but then I'm going to be raring to go for the Gilroy card. I know Alan's trying his best to get back. Isaac's already talking about getting back. Ignacio's already talking about getting back. We got so many people from the gym that are getting ready. It's going to be an exciting day.
Hey guys, I appreciate you guys. Go ahead, like this video, subscribe to the YouTube. The YouTube will be live, free for all the fights moving forward. So you're going to want that YouTube page. Thank you guys so much for all the support. We'll see you guys out there.